Hello everyone. This is Tomo from Mimaki Australia, General Manager. Thanks for coming. And we have Jason-san. Jason-san, please.
Hello everybody, Jason Hay, National Sales Manager for Mimaki Australia. I'm obviously here today doing our weekly webinar with Tomo-san, our General Manager from Mimaki Australia. For those people who are new and listening to this presentation, there's obviously a couple of housekeeping rules. We ask you that there will be a questions and answers opportunity at the end of the presentation, so feel free just to jot the questions down, and in the almost in the top right hand corner you will have a little arm key if you actually want to ask some questions, and Tomo and I can actually see them in the chat box, or alternatively feel free to open the mic and everything else at the end. So right at the end you'll have some obviously some opportunities to discuss the UJF range with Mimaki Australia, or alternatively any other questions. On a weekly webinar, which Tom and I have been doing obviously over the last couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks now, we've gone through some certain topics, and obviously on Mondays we're obviously going through the applications and products with our application specialist, Patrick Bianco. Today we're obviously discussing the industrial product range, and no doubt Tomo-san will obviously be doing a fair amount of talking, and without I'll obviously ask Tomo-san some questions in relation to this particular product range, and I suppose the more important reasons why Mimaki got into it. So furthermore, I'll ask Tomo to obviously start with the presentation, and without unfortunately I'll just interrupt Tomo. Tomo and I are usually side by side. Today we are separate in different rooms, so we may be a little bit different in regards to getting a hold of Tomo, but I will excuse myself when I do ask him a question, and we can go from there. But I do thank everyone for joining us. For those people who aren't watching us and are actually watching this later date on YouTube, don't forget to watch the other webinars which we've obviously done in the past couple of weeks. Without furthermore, will be doing some more, and the more important one that I see coming up in a later date is the Christmas shutdown procedure, which I know it's really important for our end users to do. So I'm not quite sure what of the date and time for that particular webinar, but it will be shown and it will be live.
Be around 15th to 17th of December. Just
15th to the 17th of December.
Before Christmas Eve. Yeah.
So without furthermore, Tomo-san, I'll let you start presenting, and then I'll ask some questions on the way through.
All right, thanks, Jason-san, for your introduction. And to begin with, my pleasure to have you. Okay. On the next 30 minutes to 40 minutes, I would like to go through our second biggest market portfolio regards to IP industrial product, the product session. I've got 7 agendas today for shortly. What Mimaki IP stands for: Mimaki's innovation history of UV and specialty printing solution, product range, obviously, and also I want to go through quickly and simply as a competitive analysis. Not only Mimaki has such product, but then other national brand also has them. So I want to go through to the quick comparison for that. We obviously have more to the more wider range product regards to the more precise accuracy of the printing or cutting solution, also 3D printing solutions. I want to go through that as well, and we will go through to the questions and answers if someone has specific questions besides Jason-san is asking during my presentation. Right. All right, what the Mimaki IP stands for. The IP stands for, in our specific product portfolio, called industrial product. So mostly the Mimaki partners and dealers and resellers talks about the IP as their UV printing plus flatbed. However, as a Mimaki management and production perspective, IP basically stands for like printing except for sign and displays. So not only that to printing and promotional printing or logos or pens and so on, but in Asia Pacific, we have a specific big customer using this IP product range with their industrial usage. For example, Mattel Bangkok in Thailand, They have numerous machines, between 30 to 40 machines in their Thailand Bangkok factory to printing most of those the Barbie figurines or those type of cards and Disney stuffs, as well as the Bandai Indonesia, which is based on Japanese the toy manufacturer, is printing popular stuff onto the plastic blocks. So these are those two are major account in Asia Pacific of Mimaki. But besides that, we have a customer printing the print circuit board for isolation circuit purpose with the digital etching by using our ink or primer ink as well, or the manufacturer who is making the electronics appearance, they print digitally with a control panel switch on the surface. If the amount of unit they make is more to more to individual, not a mass productions. So everyone in industry who has got those the industrial printing or industrial production opportunity, these are these should be all our potential customers in the future by using industrial product. All right, just a little bit discussing about the our UV printing product, the development history for the innovation. So we started UV printing system releasing in 2004 as a UJF 605 series, and we also have a wide format flatbed with JF 1631. Both systems are using a metal halide UV LED, which is a heat mercury lamp. However, we started investing production with a UV LED system with a cool LED light since 2008. So we've got usually 160 in about 14 years ago, the released as the world first the cold curing the inkjet system with UV LED curing. And since then, we've got 2009, we have upgraded our the wide format flatbed printer to JFX Plus with a UV LED and UJF 3042 as a benchtop tabletop, the promotional printing system in 2010. Since then, we have approximately 20 different products. Within last about 11 years, we have developed the such range of wide range of the product. Today we want to go through whichever I showed in a red circle, red rectangle with the the more promotional printing product range.
Sorry, Thomas-san, it's Jason here. Obviously, just listening to the first couple of pages and things like that, I've got a couple of questions, I suppose, from a manufacturer's perspective, I'd just like you to answer.
Yes.
I suppose my first question is to you, and I understand image products have been around since 2010. Why did Mimaki actually get into this? Why did Mimaki actually get into this particular product range?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. The first reason is after we invested, the metal halide mercury lamp, there was a lot of customer wants to print on rigid. However, mercury light will increase dramatic or significant heating, which to prevent, which to happen the media to cut or the deformation while printing. Mm-hmm. So at that moment, from my experience, out of the most of the material, more than 60% of material wasn't useful because of cowling and deformation. That's why we want to go to the change the technology from mercury light into LED light for the cold curing, for to invest for the more wider range of the material to be able to print without cowling the material. The other thing is for the more ecological solution. So the mercury light obviously takes between 15 to 20 amps, and it's actually running while it's printing or even during the standby, unless you turn off and turn on by spending a half hour. But LED is fast, less power usage, so it's actually built into a DC direct circuit, from the the PCB, not directly to AC circuit. So which makes the really less power usage, as well as their lifetime is more than 10 times longer. So normally 500 hours for UV, but the UV mercury light. But for LED light, it's usable. We warranty 5,000 hours. Also, our generic testing, it works for more than 10,000 hours for printing hours. So it actually works for more than 80 years of the real production. So those are the main reason for investing LED technologies.
Okay. And I suppose my question is, I mean, obviously you stated before that the success of obviously Thailand and India and things like that, the Australian and New Zealand market is actually quite large as well. For our viewers, can you actually give us an opportunity or an understanding without naming the actual brands, but could you give us an understanding on how big this market is in Australia and New Zealand?
All right, that's a pretty good question though. We normally, as a Mimaki, as a manufacturing point of view, we measure the size of the market as the how do I explain? The total number of the unit number of the machine to be imported. All right. So looking at this promotional printing system, including all the national brand, direct shipping to Australia and New Zealand, total is about 25 units per every 3 months. So it's actually the minimum of 100 machines trading into the the individual customer's account every year. So we should see close to 7 to 10 units a month in the Australia and New Zealand nationally. Someone is actually taking or investing that.
Yeah, and obviously that's dependent on obviously the size of the machine, which we'll obviously go through later, and things like that. So I suppose from my perspective, from a brand, from our particular market, what percentage of the market space does Mimaki have today?
Since we have released the 2010, again, as most of the people knows that we as innovative brand, and this is a world first printing system for UV LED promotional printing desktop. So that time we taking almost 95% of the market share in everywhere in the world. But these days, since even since the as a national brand, trying to penetrate and take some market share from us, we actually consistently defending the market share, the minimum of 60% today in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, without doubt, we've obviously got a lot of competitors, and competitors don't necessarily have value or price and things like that. But I suppose there's one thing that, from my perspective today, especially doing a sales cycle on a UJF 3042 FX today, that the thing that customer liked about us is the innovation of the product. We've been around in this industry for a long time. We've got the name, and I suppose it portrays a lot of confidence to the customers that are actually looking at this particular portfolio of products.
Mm-hmm. That's right. What I can say is this market is very niche, and there are lots of players, not only manufacturing point of view, but there are so many trading people, like selling individual pens and the cups or those the printing material. However, I can say that the Mimaki is only or the best innovator for this marketplace. As someone already aware of that they are in YouTube or in a global press news. So Mimaki is investing in the next 3 months within this summertime in Australia and New Zealand. We will be introducing the additional portfolios in this market. So I can say that Mimaki is the best and consistent market innovator for this marketplace.
All right. Thanks, Thomas-san. I suppose I'll let you keep on doing your presentation. I've got some more questions. I'll raise my hand. Unfortunately, we're not in the same room again, so I'll raise my hand and hopefully you see me.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll continue.
Absolutely. Let me continue. The page over.
Yep.
I just wanna quickly show to the people joining us today for the quick 2 minutes video. What's the innovation regards to this the product portfolio, the UV LED desktop since we released. So please watch this little the YouTube video quickly. Sorry, my bad. I need to play again. All right, let's start, looking at our, technology improvement in this product portfolio. So 2010, we've got the UJF 3042 first model. 2 years later, we've got HG model with additional bed height and additional ink spot colors. We've invested a year later for bigger, table size for 6042. 4 years later, we've got the Mark II model for, more to the, we learned from, existing customers. Existing portfolio at this moment. And we've got additional product portfolio for packaging solution with flatbed cutters. All right, how quick is that? Sorry, I just laughing, and I thought, I didn't think I quickly, make this presentation before. But however, let me just, simply go through to the current product portfolio and the between printing speed and pricing, right? So even we are the innovative brand, and the many customer likes to invest like a faster product and a versatile application product, which is the Mark II model. However, there are still lots of customer wants to shrink the investment cost of the the buying one of these printers. So here is what Mimaki Australia, including Australia and New Zealand market, we actually prepared as the product portfolio ready for the market. So from the bottom range, we've got white machine UJF 3042 FX. We've got another white machine between the two black machine, which is UJF 6042, which we generally call as Mark I. Those are the product which is the previous technology, which is not the latest technology. However, when we start having a Mark II product 3042 and 6042, which is the half the black machine, the many customer likes it because of it printing faster and it's the good nice print quality, not the decent and so on. But when people are considering about the investment cost, people still likes to invest with the reasonable cost, I would say. Even the production speed is a bit slower, but you can still print something on a three-dimensional product, or I would say rigid product. So we've got the solution from US dollar, 15,000 US dollars up to 40,000 US dollars. If you convert to Australian dollars, the 3040 FX, which is the bottom portfolio, it will be around $22,000 Australian dollars. 6042 is around 53 and 54,000 dollars the Australian dollars. And we've got 3042, which is a smaller version of a latest technology, and a bigger version of the the previous technology. So we've got four machines, and obviously this product called 3042 or 6042 is obviously size of the bed. 3042 supports A3 size, which is 30 centimeters by 42 centimeters. And 6042 is a double wide bed, so it's supporting 60 centimeters on the left and right direction.
Sorry, Thomas-san, it's a Jason question here. I suppose just I suppose asking some questions that the viewers just can't ask at the moment. There's two questions I've got for you, and the first question is in regards to the sellable items that we've currently sold in Australia in the last 12 months or 24 months. Mm-hmm. Can you give us an opportunity, or can you give us an idea of the numbers of that are sold in an A3 versus an A2?
Well, probably I'm not able to answer like a unit number between A3 and A2.
Yep.
However, as a percentage, we basically sell between 90 to 95% of those products as a UJF 6042 or Mark II, which is a bigger A2 product, and other 5 to 10% is a smaller flatbed. There's some reason though. Of course, if people is entering the business and they know that they have a capital fund, the fund to buy for the capital fund, and for more investment, they go to 60/42 because it's more flexible. Like it can print a smaller item to large item, so it's more extendable for business perspective. However, if customer already decided, they've got a contract for printing a unique item or a specific item, and if that application is specified as the smaller than A3 size, they invest a 30/42 size without any question, because they already know that this is work for them, and this will pay off for the what they want.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, obviously, and we've obviously been in the market for a long time in Australia. I suppose my next question is, why did we bring back the 3042 FX?
Well, obviously, one reason is because of the competitor playing in the market. Obviously, we recently means like within 2 to 3 years before, we start seeing that the people likes to invest this, but people want to know if a business will continue or not. So in order to start something, their investment level is between $15 to $20,000. So basically, we wanted to have something in the portfolio fits into their niche requirement. So that's the reason why we brought a 3042 FX. The UJF 6042 Mark II is because of the I would say the pricing. So as an innovator, we would like to put as a premium product UJF 6042 Mark II without having unnecessary, I would say, the good faith and discount for customers. But having that as a premium quality on the premium production, we wanted to have something as a backup when customer wants additional machine for existing 6042 and so on. So just looking at the investment level from the customer, this is how I would say 2 products in the portfolio was just too small. So I wanted the more than 3 products in the portfolio. So that's the reason we brought up again 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I suppose just to give our viewers some peace of mind, obviously the 3042 FX was released in 2013, and making its reintroduction 2 years ago. But by Australian law, we actually have to keep spare parts ending for 7 years after last manufacturing date. So that enables us, obviously being 2021, we've got to keep parts until 2028 as a minimum. So for peace of mind and confidence, the benefit of obviously dealing with someone like Mimaki is that we actually can we can manufacture the parts and get those parts for a longer period of time. So I think that's a very valuable point. And I suppose moving forward, it may be the entry level in regards to what we do. But I suppose from my point of view, it's the confidence factor that the customers do have if they actually are buying this particular model, even though it is from 2013. Nothing's really changed on it. It's still got the great quality and the great features at a great price.
Thanks, Jason, for your additional comments. I really appreciate that. So I want to go through to the the more details of the the between those 4 products in the portfolio. What's the major difference between? So you will probably so hopefully you will understand that the previous model can still do this, but the newer product can still does that in addition. So basically for print size, as I say, that the 3042 and 6042 both A3 size and A2 size. So print size doesn't change between previous model to newer model. However, the printable object height is totally different. The FX, which is the lowest range model, can do up to only 50 millimeters, which is less than 2 inches. 6042 Mark 1 does 150 millimeters, as well as both Mark II model can do up to 153 millimeters. So it's a huge difference in the printable object height. For the printhead technology, we've had Ricoh Gen 4 printhead on the previous the white machine I just call white machine. And we've got a more industrial printhead, which is Toshiba CE4, as well known as our UV printers, the UV printing range. We use for the previous UJF 605 and JF 1631, those metal halide range, we also use a Toshiba technology for that, and we know it works as more industrial perspective. Ink type, 34, well, white machine comes with a cartridge, either 220cc or 600cc aluminum pouch. So the ink type supported LH100 hard ink, LF140, which is a semi-flexible ink, as well as a primer, which is primer 100 for plastic surface. For Mark II series, it still does, it still supports LH100 ink as a bottle, either 1 liter bottle or 250cc bottle. LH100 is our, the specialty ink for the hard surface and hard material. As a flexible ink, we've got LUS 120 and LUS 150 ink, which is equivalent to what people use for JFX 200 platform. Also, PR 200, Primer 200 series available for metal and glass and acrylic adhesiveness improvement. The ink set, as you can see, the 3042 size, as well as the white machine and Mark II, it only has 3 print heads. So it supports CMYK and up to 2 special color. So the special color, Mimaki has white, clear, and primer besides CMYK. But for smaller bed size, you need to choose only 2 out of 3. You need to choose 2 inks out of 3 special color to put in at the installation. You can change over later on, but you need to decide something at the installation. The printing interface with the PC, white machine supports only USB, and later machine Mark II supports USB and Ethernet. And what's other importance? You can see all in here. What other importance is actually in the the third column from the bottom, ionizer option. The ionizer option is pretty important when you start printing on acrylic or plastic surface. Any of a plastic surface can generate the electronics, the static electronics. So ionizer is really important to build, to use with these products. Unfortunately, the white machine doesn't support the ionizer option. But only a later machine Mark II supports ionizer option in additional few $1,000s. Other thing is the print capacity in the last column. The print capacity as converting to A4 paper size. The Mark II series can do up to 22 sheets of A4 per every hour with with a normal printing speed. So 6042 Mark II is quite faster machine. Comparing to FX model, comparing the white model, it does at least 10 seats with a standard quality, but it's not as much as the 20 seats per hour. So I would say that between the later model Mark II and the previous model white machine, it's about 30% differences regards to the print speed. Just going through a couple of things regards to the key features of Mimaki's core technology built into those product portfolio. The first one is about inkjet primer. The Mimaki is the world first, the national, printing manufacturer in the business, which invested the inkjet primer as a, the inkjetable digital primer, built into the actual printer. How does that work is actually inkjet primer, except, instead of putting manual primer, you can actually digitalize the design for the primer. In case you are printing something like aluminum or, the clear material or something you want to remain the material finishing, except for the printing area, you can define the where to print, along with the, artwork. So it actually prints the shape of the artwork with primer before printing colors. PR100, which supported by the white machine, mainly plastic surface. PR200 is for addition to plastic, metal, acrylic, and glass surface. You can see as a Mimaki distributor and dealers and resellers, you can access to the Mimaki's product guide for each product portfolio to see what worked and what didn't work with or without primer in each product category. However, I would like to note here that even it says that the acrylic, the ink doesn't stick purely, but you need a primer. Many of our acrylic supplier, plastic material supplier, does have already coating on the surface, before that they sell to the the end client, end customers. So I would recommend do not use primer from a first day one. But just try testing if ink sticks without or with primer with a product. Your material already handling may not need a primer always, even it says it's a glass or acrylic and so on. So if it has already coating on it. The second about MCT, Mimaki circulation technology. This is the one of our core product. The most of our the manufacturer, competitors, competitive players does a similar thing these days. But Mimaki was the first, the printing industry business, started doing this. So basically, it has machine has a pump between the white ink cartridge and print head, or between white ink to the subtank in order to keep recirculating or moving the white ink, because white ink has the more dense and bigger color sediment or color pigment inside of it. So if you don't use the white often, the white ink starts separating with UV, so whatever within the ink. So ink requires significant time of the circulation. You can prevent that normally with shaking the ink cartridge. However, you cannot maintain anything within the ink pipe between the white ink cartridge to print it. So Mimaki UJF technology has all built in the white circulation pump in order to minimize the maintenance cost for the white ink in the printhead or ink tube. Number 3, MCC Mimaki Clear Control. Obviously, both the white machine and Mark II series supports the clear coating, the clear liquid as the ink. The biggest difference is if it has MCC or not. The previous model, the white machine, does not have a built-in MCC. So if you can look at the the photo below, so you can see a little edge is not clear between the clear coating and without clear coating. That's because printer is making 2 layers of curing system. So print first and cure second. So ink starts bleeding a little bit on the edge of the artwork. However, if you go to a Mark II series, the print actually prints and curing at one pass, even for the clear gloss. So it actually makes the clear finish as really clear edge on the artwork.
I might just jump in a little bit, Thomas. I suppose just to give some our listeners and our people who will be watching the video a few questions, I suppose, and points in regards to what you've been saying. I mean, obviously, inkjettable primer has been around for a little while for Mimaki. We've obviously got the PR100 and then the PR200. And listening to the conversation that you do have and give the customer the peace of mind and the confidence that we do have is that Mimaki Australia definitely have UJF series platforms in our showrooms in each and every state that we do. So, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne all have UJFs in them. So if a customer does have a unique application or alternate product that they do want to print onto, whether they want primer or not, they don't want primer, we can certainly facilitate and making sure that they actually can choose the right decision choose the right product or ink set before they actually make the purchase, which is, I suppose, peace of mind to the customer. Which is a confident thing. I suppose from my perspective to you, and we've been around in UV technology for a long time, And I suppose to understand the reasons, to move away to point number 2, to understand the reasons why Mimaki put a circulation system in their ink tanks, is that the actual white ink used to separate from its formula, didn't it? Really, so it would actually sit down the bottom, and the water would evaporate to the top, which enabled, which created clogged heads and things like that. So.
Correct.
As a unique feature of a unique selling point, obviously with Mimaki technology, is that we do have that agitating pump that actually does circulate and give the customers the peace of mind that the white ink has actually circulated 85 or 95% of the time. And like you did say, that you do have to pull the bottle out, and the machine will tell you if it actually hasn't been, if it's not circulated enough. The machine will tell you to actually take the ink out and give it a quick shake. Right. So, which is a nice, like, again, what I keep on saying, I'll keep on reiterating, is the peace of mind, I suppose, in regards to the technology of where Mimaki sits in the UJF portfolio of products. Listening today, multiple different ink sets for different applications, primers, circulations in their white inks, and obviously, with the multi-clear controls, or Mimaki Clear Control for our products. To me, it sounds like it's a great peace of mind.
That's right. Just one thing though, people, asking us more frequently saying, hey, is white ink, so much easier to separate in the ink system? I would say, I always answer like this. Okay, Mimaki is the first, the business of a printing manufacturer, invested the UV ink with the white color back in 2004. Well, at that moment, we did not have the circulation system built in. So people need to maintain the white ink, like empty it out and putting back into. And more people invested in Mimaki has complained about this. But I can say this, that from our internal R&D research and development and testing, we've always tried like how good we are and how good our competitors are. Even the customer, saying the 15 years ago, the Mimaki ink separates pretty quickly, but it's actually more than 10 times slow separation comparing to others. I'm not saying who it is, but our ink is most consistent, comparing to others. And these days, we can say also that our ink is more consistent with comparing to others. However, we just want to give a better solution to customer always. So that's the answer is here. Instead of customer is even doing a frequent head cleaning, which only consumes 3 cc's every week for the maintenance. We wanted to prevent that for customers' mindset.
I suppose just lastly, Thomas, just to point that out, that every single one of these UJFs gets sold with white ink. Correct. So we know how many machines are actually sold in the field, and I suppose the heartaches and headaches that you possibly have with white ink technology, that's another proven factor that Mimaki has certainly figured out a solution in regards to the circulation and making sure that the sediment of the white and the evaporator doesn't actually separate. So it does work. It's sold in every UJF that we do. So it's a good point.
Yeah, thanks, Jason-san, for your comment. Let me find out the next slide, which I want to go through to the some ink technology difference. All right, here, where obviously it was our next page. All right, because the ink type, we've got 4 different ink types. It depends on what the generation model you have and what application you are in order to print. So the most customer investing LH100 ink. So LH100 ink supported by all the white platform, white machine, and Mark II. So even customer has upgraded to a Mark II from a previous model, but the previous model is still in a working order. They can have the same ink type, even the different way to supply between the ink cartridge to ink bottle, but they can actually have the same color presenting from a RIP software. So, which, the most customer choose, this ink configuration. So it's a hard ink and, the very good resistance to scratch and high chemical resistance. So if people is printing, the phone case, and then if, people is taking off and on from the pocket for more than 120 times a day, obviously, others ink, non-Mimaki ink will scratch right away, like within a couple of days. but we proven with the this phone case, the ink printing of phone case will not scratch even with 3 months, never with more than 120 times a day, putting in and out. That's a weak point. Of course, I don't want to say only the benefits, but I want to explain also disadvantage. So it's a weak outdoor resistance. So I'd say do not use for the outdoor durability requirement for like a signs for outdoors, or do not put in a solar panel, that type of thing. So mostly the people use this for the nameplate, trophies, and phone cover. Not saying a phone case with a bending, but just a rigid phone case and printing on toys and so on. So we've got another flexible ink, the semi-flexible ink, LF140 and LES120 ink. LF140 ink supported by a white machine, and LES120 is a bottle supply for a Mark II printer. So both ink, ink won't break easily when you bend the system, or when you bend the printing, the print result. So the people using for the either packaging, which the box will bend after printing or cutting, or people also use for the the flexible phone case, like a rather phone case, so you can print on and it won't bend after it's bent for 180 degrees. The ink is flexible, so it needs to remain some of the tackiness. Ink won't scratch, easily, but you will feel a tackiness will remain like a few months after printing. The scratch resistance is not as strong as the LH100 ink, so you need to be careful for the the putting on or off from the pocket. It may scratch a little quicker than LF100 ink. So people use for flexible plastic, rather phone case, packaging design, or those type of the products. LS150 ink, it's the rarely sold ink into this product portfolio. The benefit of this LS150 ink is basically ink will not break when you are applying cut and bend on the ink surface. For example, if you want to the print and the create keychains, or how you say like the acrylic key holder, and after you print it, you want to cut with a laser with the inked surface. The ink will be flexible enough to protect the cut layer, so ink won't crack by a laser cutting. So it's still the weak outdoor resistance. It's not as weak as LH100 ink, but I would say do not expect more than 12 months of outdoor resistance for the color fading. So people use this for acrylic printing and cut application. That's why LS150 is used for the more grand format application for like the signage and packaging and so on, not for not so much smaller object application. So you can print on signage as well. Anything requires also heating. So ink won't crack, or ink has a heat resistance up to 95 degrees Celsius. So if you have something like a heat generating process, the post process after printing, you need to use LES150. So these are the variable ink type that we prepare for the application which customer requires. I just want to show you a quick video regards to, we've got only 10-15 minutes left, unfortunately. So we will show you a quick video. Just I'm not trying to do a negativize someone, but this is a quick comparison between other player in the market and what we do regards to the application point of view. So please watch out this quick video. So this presentation is basically, comparing 5 different points regards to between Mimaki and company R, flatbed printer, and what Mimaki can provide better comparing to company R. So first is the print, quality and print speed. So you actually, comparing a similar printing resolution to print white, color and white, color and white and color, 3 layers printing. The Mimaki can do one job with 5 minutes. However, competitive product needs to spend like close to 15 minutes. The reason is because Mimaki has a white staggered printhead comparing to colored head. So it always print one pass with the white and color in the same job. So this is the how dense the white ink comparing to Roland and Mimaki as well. Sorry, I said the company R and Mimaki as well. The productivity by A4 size. The Roland has got only 2 pieces to put in, and 60/40 to Mimaki is 4 pieces to put in. So it's comparing the print speed for that. All right, so regards to ink lineup, the Mimaki has got 3 ink set for Mark II series. Roland has got 2. Well, the company are always say that Roland has got one ink set for all applications. Well, which is not true because watch out this what it does. It's just testing with the the little the small pressure with the rubbing I suppose that it's comparing to what the pocket resistance for the phone case. But after 6 times goes back and forth, the company R cyan ink start coming out like more than 60%, right? And it does to the another certain time, and you will see what's going to happen with it. All right, so after certain times of rubbing, the company R ink has taken off completely, but Mimaki ink has never taken out. So it's comparing Eco UV4 from company R and LH100, which is they trying to promote that hey, this is the best best ink because it works for both application for rigid and flexible, but unfortunately it won't work for both. I want to just show you the our R&D test result. Not saying we are the best, but just having your understanding of the how the ink performs differently between both. So the first photo is after after ink is left in the bin for 14 days, how much the ink separates. So Mimaki is very less, and Eco UV4 is a lot, like a 30% sedimentation, the separating happening. Scratch testing, it's not noticeable with Mimaki, but it is for company R. Friction test, which we just showed for the video. Alcohol wiping test. And more importantly, our flexible ink LES 120 and the company R flexible ink with Eco UV4. This is a difference. Even company R trying to promote, their ink won't bend, but actually it's bent as a one time as a bending. And the Mimaki LES 120 ink, never crack on a bend. Crosscut test. Metal, acrylic, all won't fail with Mimaki with a primer, comparing to their primer. So this truly showing that the ink has got a benefit onto their application. Regards to ink pricing from a market researching globally, Mimaki ink is average 40% less cost than the the company R's retail price. So we can't say that hey, our ink works better, but it's more expensive. But actually, we are less expensive comparing to those market players. It's just a competitive analysis between our portfolio and the company R's portfolio and how it's beating against. So sometimes the Mimaki has a reasonable solution for their product portfolio. So we can say it works better for everything except for pricing. But we always have the lower product portfolio in pricing and higher product portfolio with the product and versatilities comparing to what they have. In addition to those promotional printing solution, we also have high-end products solution with a 7151 as well as a cutting solution with a flatbed cutter 605 for the more industrial application or short-run packaging solution. In addition to, sorry to that we keep rush, but in the last page we've got addition to our industrial product portfolio, we newly invested a 3D printer. So not only full color 3D printer, this is more to consumer market 3DFF 222. So it's a heat filament printing. So it's not ink printing, but a plastic printer for the object. So we have 9 different colors available. Printing size 20 centimeters on 3 direction, and it's good for easy start packaging. It works for flatbed printing jig for the USB memory or printing pens. It works for 3D letters. It works for personal protection equipment for COVID, COVID protection, 3D signage, and so on. And newly, it's coming, starts coming 3D UJF full color 3D printer. It's the desktop. It's our new range, which is coming within a couple of weeks. So we will be announcing this shortly. So Jason-san, I apologize taking so much time. So I'd like to go through your questions and our attendees' questions.
Hey, Thomas. No, that's okay. I mean, obviously, no, that's all right. I noticed that you're going fast and forward. I suppose the thing for me that stands out the most, obviously between us and other competitors and that we actually compete against, is the versatility of our product range that we've got and the ink sets and things like that. The one question I suppose that a lot of customers come into our office and when we're doing a demonstration is that when you mention the R brand, that they use a BOFA unit on their machine, and we actually don't use a BOFA unit. Are you able to explain the reasons of what a BOFA unit does and the reason why Mimaki doesn't have one?
Sure. Unfortunately, we don't have a BOFA unit because our ink don't smell and don't affect people's like office environment as it's ink odor. However, company R's BOFA unit is to prevent ink smell goes out from the machine to the office environment. Because if you have ever smelled that thing, it's really smelly. I don't want to say any like any bad thing, but no, to be honest, it's really smell ink. So in order for customer to use that the eco UV ink in a standard environment, you must invest in BOFA unit for less ordering system.
Okay, and obviously all our competitors use LED, and I suppose obviously Mimaki does as well. Been using it for a long time. I suppose my last question is for you. I suppose when you got the scratch resistance test and things like that. On the couple of the pages, is Mimaki using an adhesion promoter in those tests?
Well, both testing in a movie as well as this photo, yes, we are using the the primer 200.
Yeah.
However, in the company R testing, we also using their primer to comparing that. So, some of the material, it's giving a really bad adhesion if you don't have any pre-coating. Yep. So you need a primer. But sometimes you won't need a primer. So I really recommend advanced testing for any material before starting production.
All right, no, that's okay. All right, no worries. All right, Thomas-san. And last but not least, I mean, obviously, you did note before that Mimaki Australia is obviously introducing a couple of new of these products in this range. No doubt we'll be talking about those early next year. Anything exciting in regards to when we will actually start to be able to showcase these in our showrooms for the viewers?
Well, those 7151 and cutting system and 3DFF is already releasing in a few months ago, so
Yep.
it's available in the Mimaki New South Wales showroom. Unfortunately, not for our Victoria and Queensland showroom. 3D UJ 2207 is newly available. It's just arrived last week to Mimaki Ridermere in New South Wales. So we are, we start installing. But hopefully before Christmas, we would like, I would like to showcase what it is and our investigating results to our market for the first place.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's enough questions for me, Thomas-san. Obviously, we've been going for 55 minutes. If any of our viewers do have some questions, feel free to open the line, put your hand up and ask some questions, or alternatively, just leave them in the chat box, and either Tomo or myself can answer those questions. If not, then we'll hang around for 5 minutes, or make it up until 60 minutes, and then we'll cut the session off. But Thomas-san, I do appreciate what you do. I mean, obviously, I do appreciate these webinars.
I appreciate Jason-san as well.
Yeah, I do appreciate the webinars, and I no doubt that the viewers and what we have been receiving in the feedback from our viewers, whether it's the dealer network or a direct customer, in regards to how, I suppose, intuitive these webinars are. So I think, stay tuned. We'll obviously get some more creativity. Unfortunately, we couldn't be together today, but we'll hopefully be back together next week to do the next presentation.
Sure. I would like to again thank you very much for the your support, Jason-san, as well, and all attendees today. And I'm pretty sure that the people watching this webinar, after recording and sharing, I'd like to, thank you for your time watching. And, that if you have any opportunity to come down to, Mimaki showroom, doesn't matter which state, but, just, contact us and we will secure your time to discuss about your next step into your investment and business. Thank you very much.